Welcome to Lessons with Geoff Thompson. Today we're looking at throws and takedowns. Again, with the stuff we're going to do today, we're going to be working from a neutral position, working with gis. What I want you to do is look at the techniques, take them away and cut and paste them into your own system. So you don't have to do them exactly the way me and Wayne are going to do them today. You can change them to make them work for your system, however they're going to work. Ideally, we want it so that you can get it to work in a real situation. But again, we've got to emphasise that we're working from a neutral position today, working with gis and working with control. When you do it in your own situation, you can add all the attemming, headbutting, biting, striking, whatever you want to do. Sometimes you can't choose your grip in a real situation, so we'll try and do as many throws as we can from different positions so that you can see how it could work in a real situation. Again, as I've said in all the videos, what I've got to emphasise is that if you're in grappling positions, if you end up grappling, it's because you've made a mistake. The last place you want to be in a real situation is grappling. One is because you can only fight one person at a time when you grapple, and all his mates will kick your head and his girlfriend will stab you. So you don't want to be grappling unless you have to. And two, it's the one range you can't change once you've got it. If I'm in punching or kicking range and I'm being out punched or out kicked, I can change range. In this range, I'm held there by the grip of my adversary, so I can't change range. So once I'm there, I'm stuck. So if I get some road digger from hell with forearms like Popeye, then I'm not going to be able to change the grip. He's going to hold me there. And a guy in the street, especially if he's a manual worker, for 30 seconds is going to be the strongest bloke you've ever felt. Okay, he doesn't know any of the rules, he's just going to hold you, and it's going to be really hard to get him off you. You can break people's arms and still not break their grip. We're going to look at ways of trying to break grip as well, but basically once you've been grabbed, and this is usually because you've made a mistake, you've got to make the best of it. Again, with the throws, you're going to be throwing people over and that, but a lot of times in real situations when you throw people, they pull you down with them. There's a thing we call a panic grip. When somebody grips you outside, it's very, very difficult to get the grip off. So when you throw them, they tend to pull you over. I've thrown a lot of people in real situations. That's why I'm here today. Not because I'm a great judo player or a great wrestler. I'm not, but I make it work in the real situation. And that's really what you want to know. I've broke my kneecap throwing people outside. And that's because when I've thrown them, they've pulled me down with them. People don't want to let go, which is okay, if you throw them over, as long as you end up in a good position. Partly we'll look at that as well, but really that goes into the grappling tape, so you need to look at the ground fighting series. But it is important that when you throw somebody, you land in a good position. You land them so they hurt themselves, you land on top of them if they pull you down. If you can throw them clean, that's the best way to do it, but it's not always easy. The only time I would court grappling range is if I was match fighting. So if we can distinguish between the three kinds of fighting again, and if I've said this before on other tapes, then forgive me for repeating it. You've got ambush fighting, 3-second fighting, match fighting. We're working from a match fight scenario here, or a 3-second fight that has gone wrong, or an ambush fight where you've been grabbed. In match fighting, you could actually court grappling range because it's a one-on-one situation. If I'm fighting a guy that is out punching me, say he's a boxer, or he's out kicking me, then I can go to the sanctuary of grappling range and take him over and take him to the floor. Then it's like he's drowning, because he could be a fifth dan standing up, but he's a white belt on the floor. So that's the one time when you can choose to take someone to the ground. But match fighting is, although it's an honourable art, it's a dying art. So it's not likely to happen very often. But if it does happen, and the guy's a monster, take him to the floor, and then you can eat him up down there. Again, he could be a real big guy, but if he's not used to fighting on the floor, he's going to be shagged within a few seconds. And if you know what you're doing down there, then you can really take control. So that's the only time I'd actually caught this range. What you need to do with your grappling is people make mistakes, even monkeys fall out of trees. So you've got to address the fact that if you make a mistake and end up grappling, you need to know what to do once you're there. I want to know that if I end up on the floor by mistake, I've got the choice as to whether or not to stay there. We all say, like, if you hit the floor, get back up straight away. Don't stay on the floor. But sometimes you don't want to get back up. If I'm fighting a 19-stone boxer, I don't want to be standing up and fighting him. I want to keep him on the floor where he's a novice. Okay, so I've got the choice. The danger is, of course, like I said, if he's got mates or he's got a girlfriend, he wants to kick you while you're on the floor, that's the danger. But if that danger isn't there and you want to stay down there, at least if you know grappling on the floor, you've got that choice. So that again goes into the ground fighting tapes. So you'll have to look out for them. Okay, I've got Wayne Lakin helping me today. Just to let you know that Wayne's my instructor. He's acting as Yuki for me today, so I just want to thank Wayne for that. What we're going to do just to start off with is just briefly look at breaking balance. What tends to happen in a real situation is you don't end up like this. This is the ideal grip, or this kind of grip. What tends to happen is you throw a punch and you'll end up something like this, or you'll end up something like this. So then it's making the best of that grip. That's why it's a good idea to have different grips, like the wrestler's grip is here, the judo grip is here. You know, you can come around and grab from the belt, or you can grab over the top and grab the shirt or the top of the trousers. You know, and there's throws from all these different positions. You're never really going to get the ideal grip. Wayne's going to show us in a minute a little bit about breaking grips so you can get a better position. And also it goes without saying that if I'm in this position here, I'm going to whack him, I'm going to headbutt him, I'm going to bite him, I'm going to do whatever I can to get me a throw. The original concept in judo or jiu-jitsu was blow before throw. So you whack them and you throw them, that distracts them. Because even a strong novice is going to hold you off unless you're really good at breaking balance. The way we break the balance is like what we call the Union Jack, and that's going at all the different angles of the flag. So we can go pushing back this way, pushing back that way, or pushing straight back, pulling on to the left, just pulling on forward, pulling on to the right. Okay, if you get your balance breaking really good, you can throw people without even taking on a particular throw. Some of the throws rely just on breaking balance. One of the particular throws I used to use outside a lot was just literally yanking people to the floor. So what I would do is I'd unwhack them in the head and just pull them down here. So I'd bump them here and just pull them down and pull them onto the floor, and then from on the floor I'd finish off, or I'd talk to them depending on what the circumstances demanded. So look at that again, to the back right, to the sides, to the left front, to the right front, or just forward. And what you tend to do is you break the balance and then you take a throw. Okay? But you can also as well as breaking the balance, you can also distract. If you distract somebody by whacking them, it'll give you a window of opportunity. If I try and pull him into a throw now, he's just going to lock off. If I whack him in the face with my head, I've got a split second of brain engagement, and that's my window of opportunity to take him over. Okay, so I could whack him in the head here and then come in and take a throw. So that's something you don't want to forget either. It's not something we're going to go into heavily today. What I really want to do today is just do the basic throws, and then you take them into your system and add whatever you need to add from there. Okay, it doesn't take a genius to realise that you can put a head in from here or you can bite. But it's much easier to throw someone over if you can do that. What a lot of people are thinking when I'm talking now is that they wouldn't bite. And the people that are thinking that are generally the people that haven't been there. And I don't mean no disrespect by that, but if you've got a guy here and he's gonna beat you a new face, or he's gonna try and flatten the world with your head, you will do anything to stop him. If he's gonna get past you and rape your wife, you tell me that you're not gonna bite him. You'll bite his face off. To actually say that you're not gonna do it means you won't use it. You need to learn to bite for two reasons. One is that it can save your life, and two is that it teaches you how to defend against the bite. If I'm wrestling with Wayne on the floor, we'll add biting techniques, even though we're just biting and releasing, not actually severing, so that I'll learn to defend against the bite. Today's enemy is a biter, and he'll learn how to put the bite on. So if I've got 2 seconds before his mate rapes my wife or batters my daughter or my son, that bite will fill them 2 seconds and get this guy off me and stop him. So, you know, you don't really want to be thinking, I won't use that technique. These techniques are all legitimate. They're all in your katas, they're all in your basic techniques. So just use them. So just look at the balance again. We're just going to break the balance, all the different angles, back, forward, to the front, to the side. And remember, it's like the Union Jack. Okay, what we'll do now, we're going to go into a couple of shoulder throws, and we're going to do them from a basic position, from a static position. Later on, you've got to learn to do these while you're moving around, and that's when your randori practice comes in. So we just start with the basic technique. We're just going to move in from here, stepping in with the right foot, coming underneath with the right arm, turning in and dropping my centre of gravity so I'm just below him, and then from here, just picking up, and then I'm going to throw him over. Okay? So this is the basic Uchikomi footwork. Come to here. And then over. Just look at that again. And just come into here. Shooting up as though you're trying to touch the ceiling with his hand. Pulling down tightly here so that he can't escape from it. Bending underneath his centre of gravity. And then from here, just straightening up with my legs. You notice as well, if from here, as he lands, I've still got hold of his arm. Okay, so if I wanted to go to groundwork, I'm in an ideal position just to fall through and go for an arm bar. Or if he stays there, if I've got the arm here, then I can just turn him round and just pump and just make a hole in his head. Or I can just stamp on him, or I can just pull him around. If he's got his mate over here, then I can use his body to protect me against his mate. Okay? So if his mate wants to get to me, he's got to walk over Wayne. And all the time I've got Wayne here, I can be stamping on things. So look at that again. What I would do with this is I'll just whack him straight in the face. Okay? I'll just let my body weight drop forward, butt him in the face, and then just come straight away through and pick up. This way. Okay? Try it again. That's the way to practice the footwork. Obviously at some point you've got to practice doing this against someone that's trying to stop you at the moment where he's letting me. If we take that a step further and go for Marotta Shiranagi, which is basically using his jumper or his gi to come underneath here, put the arm underneath here, this way, same footwork, right leg, left leg, but the arm's actually under here, same thing, up, and then over. And again, as he lands, I'm in complete control, because I've actually got his arm, and if one I can break the arm, or I can just kneel on him, or punch him, or stamp on him. Again, the footwork's exactly the same, just like you're grabbing something. It can be a jump or whatever he's gone. It's obviously got to be a bit pliable. If you haven't got a jumper on or anything like that, it's going to be difficult, but most people, unless you're fighting in a nudist camp, most people are going to have something on. So come into here. At the same time, he's stepping in, underneath, up, and throw over. Okay, what we do then, if we take that to, a lot of judo people like to do this from a kneeling position. Wayne does this a lot better than me, so I'll just swap round. And this is basically taking the same throw, but doing it from a kneeling position, going down onto the knees. So if you just do the footwork first, Wayne. Okay, again. And from there, throw over. Now, you might not want to go onto your knees in a real situation, which is okay, because you tend, we've got mats here, it's easy for us to protect our knees. Outside you can easily hurt your knees. But a lot of times you end up in this position. You'll end up in a scuffle and you'll end up in this position. You'll end up in every conceivable position. If you're down here and he's jumping on your back, then you can throw him over. You can do it on Shiranagi from both of you kneeling down. So this isn't a technique you'd perhaps immediately go for, but if it's offered to you, then you take it. If it gives you that energy, then you go with it. And again, if he comes in to take this throw, and I really resist here, so if you just jump again, Wayne, if you do it standing from a standing, and I really resist, then all he's got to do is drop down, and I've gone. And if he does it like that, he's not actually going immediately into a kneeling Shiranagi, he's going into a normal Shiranagi, and as I resist, he's just dropping underneath me. He's going underneath my centre of gravity, I'm just going to fly over the top of him. Now look at that again. So if he goes for a straight Shiranagi, and I resist, he just drops. So that's the idea of actually knowing how to do it from a kneeling position. Again, as with all the throws, once you've actually got the basic throw off, and you can do the basic throw, then you can direct the way you throw people. You know, if I've got a table here, I can throw him into the table. If I've got a wall there, I can throw him into a wall. If I've got a curbstone here, then I can throw him so he lands with his back or his head on the curbstone. So that's basically up to you. You can also, if the guy doesn't really deserve a demolishing, then you can also throw him gently. You can lower him down. So when he throws me here, you just watch how he gently drops me over. So if he wants to, he can take complete control of the throw. Mostly you're not going to be doing that. Mostly, you know, you're just going to be trying to destroy people. We work on the premise that this guy started a fight with you for no reason. If the guy's got nothing to grab hold of, then you can take the throw like a wrestler would take it, and that's actually just grabbing the wrist. And again, this is an acquired technique. You know, you have to develop the right wrist strength and the right grip strength to do this kind of thing, but the wrestlers do it really well. So a combination between wrestling and judo is good, because the wrestlers take all the throws without a gi, which is probably more likely how you want to do it in a real situation. But it's exactly the same really, just not gripping here. I'm just going to grip the wrist, and we're going to take the footwork the same, and I'm actually going to shoot this up. I'm going to do this as though I'm trying to pop his shoulder out from the top. So I'm going to really shoot up, and when you actually take the throw properly, you make it a violent kind of explosion. So we're coming into here, up, okay, here, and I'm just grabbing the wrist, same, again, dropping, as I drop below his centre of gravity, he's already starting to pull over. You also notice there's no gaps here. Keep that nice and tight. If there's any gap at all, that's going to give him strength, he's just going to pull away from it. You keep everything tight, so my bottom should be touching his stomach. So I'm really in tight here. And from here, see I've got the wrist there, just pull up, throw over. Same Ippon Shiranagi is always shown on self-defense courses when somebody grabs you from the back. And you know, if you're quick with this kind of technique, then it's good. So if somebody kind of grabs me from the back here, then I can just do exactly the same technique, I'm already in position. So if he's grabbed me, and I come up, and I pull over. What they forget to tell you in self-defense videos is that people don't grab you from the back so that they can stand there and grab you from the back. People don't grab you here and just stand there. They grab you here and throw you on the floor and kick you in the face or rape you and take your money off you. They grab you from the back so that they can punch you in the face or stab you, or so they can just slam you over, okay? So for you to get an Ippon Shiranagi in from here, you're going to have to know the technique really, really well. So that comes from doing the technique thousands and thousands of times. For this to work, you've got to do it instantly, and it's very difficult. You know, you've got a split second. There's a window of opportunity, and it's a split second. And if he's grabbed you from the back, then obviously you haven't been aware. And if you haven't been aware, then the chances of taking this throw are minimal. But at least you know it, and if you can get it, that's good. You're more likely to take this throw if you drop to your knees. You're not likely to damage your knees too much from this position either, because as you drop down, his weight is going to pull you slightly back up again, so you're not going to damage your knees too much. But it doesn't matter about that. It doesn't matter if you hurt your knees. People talk to me about punching and they say, "Oh, I don't want to damage my hands." Who cares about damaging your hands or damaging your knees? You're trying to save your life. It's a real situation. It doesn't matter if you break a finger. It doesn't matter if you crack your kneecap. As long as you've destroyed this guy, okay, that's all that matters. That's all that matters with it. So don't worry about injuries. When you get into a real fight, you will get injuries, okay? As it is now, everything looks nice and clean. Everything looks really good. In a real situation, your shirt's going to be ripped, your buttons have popped off, your trousers are going to be ripped, your knees are going to be torn off, but it doesn't matter. That's superfluous. Same as if you're on the floor, you're going to get grazes on your head from where you bridge with your head, where you stop people turning you over. You're going to graze your knuckles, you're going to hurt your elbows. That doesn't matter. We're talking about fighting, and in fighting, it's very rare that both sides don't get hurt. If I'm fighting with a guy on the street, the chances are I'll come away with some injuries as well. But as long as his are worse than mine, as long as I walk away and he doesn't, that's all that matters. And again, remember what I said about these techniques. We're cutting and pasting. I don't want you sitting there with your mate and saying, "That's never going to happen, I'll never be in that position, he's not going to be wearing a gi, blah, blah, blah." What we're looking at is taking the base technique. This is the technique at its purest. Bring it into your system, cut and paste it, make it work for you, okay? Do anything you want with it, okay? Mostly in traditional martial arts, they say that change is sacrilege. but it isn't. Change is sense. The environment's changing, the enemy's changing, you've got to change as well, change the technique. You make this technique, you change it however you want to make it work for you. If you're a tall person, a small person, you know, a fat person, a thin person, you make it work for you. It doesn't matter how it looks, it doesn't matter whether it will pass the grading, it just, all that matters is whether it will work or not. And if you can make it work, it doesn't matter how it looks. So cut and paste how you want. What we're going to do now, we'll just turn around here. We're going to take this technique from a static uchikomi to a moving uchikomi. Okay, at the moment we're just standing here and we're just taking the throw. But what tends to happen in real situations is you're moving around. So this is the first step, moving backwards, moving forwards. The technique's really quite easy, but when you start moving back and forward with it, it changes completely. So we're going to let Wayne do this because he's a lot better at it than I am. So we're going to move backward and forward. We'll just do it slowly. So we can move backwards first, and then I'll move backwards. Okay, so you can see the same footwork, and from where you're sitting now on the couch with your cup of tea, it looks pretty easy. But when you try and do it, it's pretty difficult. And this is what you need to practice. I'll practice this for hours and hours with Wayne to get it right. And that's what you need to do. Do it again and again and again. People very rarely stand still and let you throw them. They'll be moving all over the place. They'll be trying to stop you. They'll be trying to hit you. You've got to be able to take all that, take the movement, and then take the throw. And this is the way. This is the first step in practicing it. So if we look at me moving forward, Wayne moving backwards, and then the same, the opposite way. Okay, we'll just slow it down a bit more. So just go to the feet now, just have a look at the feet. Watch how the feet are working. So we'll do it really slow. And then the opposite way. Now what we're going to do is we'll come back up again. We're going to do it a bit faster. So Wayne's going to actually take me over with this one. So just slam me into the floor, Wayne. Okay, so I'll move towards you. Let me move backwards. I'm just going to move backwards this time. Same again. Okay, so it's exactly the same footwork, but you're moving, so it's much more difficult. The way I'd recommend you do this is you practice it really, really slowly, and then just speed up, gradually get faster and faster, and then at some point take it into your actual randori and try it then. What we'll do now is move on to the hip throws. Again, these are probably the kind of throws that you see in James Bond films, but they are really good if the energy is offered to you and the opportunity is right. Again, we're going to do the basic technique in its purest form, take it away, cut and paste it, bring it into your system, add whatever you want to it to make it workable for you. What I want to do is show you the pure form. What I tend to do myself, it'd be very easy for me to stand here and just show you the stuff I would work on the doors, but what I want to do is try and take you into the histrionics of the art, show you the art so that you can take the very best of it. It's very hard to take shortcuts before you know the long routes. So, you know, find out everything about a system and then take what you want from it. You might only take maybe 1/10 of the system, but you've got to go through the whole system to find that 1/10. Okay, like I spent about a year with Bob Sparrow doing Thai, and I come away with it. I come away with elbows and leg kicks. That's what I really wanted. But you know, you have to go through the whole system to get that. That's, you know, really what you want to write about self-defense can be written on the back of a stamp. But it's no good giving that to somebody because they've got to learn the whole system before they can understand that. So that's what we're trying to do here. It's easy to look at this and think this is a bit far detached from self-defense, but it's not. What we've got to do is show you the techniques in the purest form, then you bring them back, you bring them into your system, just blend them in. What I do is I've got a core like this. I go out to different systems, I take the best I can from the systems, respectfully, come back and add them to my core. My core then is getting bigger and bigger. But I can't just go and say, I'll have that technique, I'll have that technique. I have to learn the whole system. You have to understand the system. You can't destroy what you can't create. Also, if I'm going to fight people from these different systems, if I end up in a real situation with somebody who does Thai or somebody who does Judo or somebody who does boxing, I need to understand the system. Otherwise, they're going to tear me a new arse. So I've got to understand the system. Okay? So what we're going to do now anyway, I'm going on a bit, we're going to go into the hip throw. So this is the basic ogoshi throw. It's the same kind of footwork as you've got with the Ippon Shiranagi. What we're going to do here is going to come round the waist here and bend in here. So again, both of my feet are inside his here, and I'm coming underneath his centre of gravity, pulling his arm, and then throwing over. In a real situation, it's not going to look clean, but I don't really care about that. I just want to throw him over. And when I throw him over, I can land him as heavy or as light as I want to do, depending on how much emphasis I put on, you know, the actual thrust down here. So again, coming around here to the waist, feet inside, throw over. Just have a look at the feet. You're coming across, turning, get as close as I can to this body contact here, pull him into me, and as I bend down you can see he's already going, and I've only got a turn. Again, if I end up in this position, then I'm going to be whacking him with my head to get my position in, okay? Because he's going to be struggling, he's going to be doing all sorts of things as well, so I'm going to whack him. I might bite him across the bicep if I can get hold of his arm, anything to distract him, so I can bite him or bite his chest or bite his nipple here and give him a real hard bite just to take his mind off what I'm trying to do. Then I'll come in and from here pick up, throw down, still got hold of the arm. I'm in quite a good position to punch from here, but for some reason in real situations you just don't get the power. You feel as though you're getting good power from here, but you know, in a demo this looks really good, but it's a bit dangerous. One thing is, if I punch him here, I'm vulnerable to this hand. If he grabs hold of me, he can pull me over. His mate's going to kick me in the face. My mate got his jaw broke doing just this, bending over to get a guy here. He got kicked by a stranger over there, broke his jaw, so he had to eat out of a straw for 6 months. Okay, so this isn't advisable. So, but what we do, with 25 years of karate behind you, you automatically do it. But from here, I'm most likely going to let go of him, lift up, and I'm just going to break his ribs. Or just wind him, depending on how serious the situation is. If the guy's really malicious, if he's a named fighter or he's got a weapon, then I'll try and bust his ribs, and I'll try and bust the ribs so that they rupture all his internal organs. Because if he's trying to kill me, then I'll try to maim him. If it's just a guy that's had a bit too much to drink and he doesn't deserve that, then I'll just wind him. I'll either stamp on him and just wind him, or I'll just talk to him, tell him that I'm in a position of control from here. Okay? But hopefully the throw itself will have winded him. Same kind of thing again from here. This is the hip throw here with the arm around the waist. What I'm going to do now is a variation of the hip throw. That's haragoshi, and that's the same kind of footwork, but I'm going to pull him in here, or pull him in here, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to come across and do haragoshi, which is coming to here and throwing over there. Okay, so the same kind of thing, look, stepping across, pulling to break the balance, and as I come into here, I'll sweep this leg up and come over. And if I lose my balance, I'll use him to regain it again. So, but as I throw him over, if he's pulling me, then I'll just use him to regain that balance. Okay, so if we look at that again, just pull him over here. Just look at my feet a sec. Come into there, this way, and throw over. Okay, and then again, if I need to, I'm in a position to just drop down or stamp on him. The most effective thing is going to be a stamp from there. So watch that once more. Step. Okay, and again you come in as close as you can. I prefer to come right around the collar if I can, or right around the head. And from here, you hook this leg up to take the feet over. This way. Okay, can you see that? Just look at the feet again. So if we come in, you can do the same thing with the hip throw, or with this throw, by grabbing the armpit, just grabbing the hairs under the arms, or just grabbing the suit under the arms, or his shirt, and you come exactly the same way, just pulling him up here, and throwing him over. But that works the same again if you're going to do haragoshi, just grabbing and pulling up, and coming into here and throwing over that way. You can also do it if you end up in the position, just coming over the top and grabbing the belt or the top of the trousers or the shirt or whatever he's got on and coming into here. This is a common position. People end up here a lot. It's exactly the same. Grab whatever you can. If you can grab his skin, grab his skin. Generally, it'll be the top of his trousers or the bottom of his shirt. Just pull up here. Same again, underneath, up and over. Or if you're really clever and the arm tries to grab you, can, if someone's got their arms here, you can grab the arms and put them across here and throw them over that way as well. So we come back to the basic throw again, around the waist to here. Okay, see the footwork. Same as all the other throws. The way I'm most likely to use it is from a headlock here. Okay, from a headlock, I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm already in the position. My feet are already inside his feet. Just going to drop the centre of gravity, pick him up, there. This, I mean, people end up in headlocks a lot. This is a good way to throw someone from it. What tends to happen, especially if you're working on the doors, if you take somebody in the position to drag them out of the club and you can't control them and you turn them around to here, you end up in this position. So you're walking them out, and if you need to, you can just pick them up, and throw from there. Similar to that is Uchimata, which is not, I don't think it's classed as a hip throw, but it always feels like a hip throw to me. And it's a similar kind of movement, coming to here, but instead of throwing the foot on the outside, you just throw it on the inside. Okay, so you come to here, this way, and just throw over. So you see the feet there, and what you try to do with this support foot is come right through here. There, so as soon as you step through the other one, it's already going to be falling forward. So as you come through to here, that's Uchimata. Exactly the same, throwing the leg on the inside. Okay. Again, you're adding your breaker balance to this, so you come to here, then over. And the same, as we said before, if someone grabs you from the back here, and they've grabbed you in a kind of bear hug or wherever it is, if you can, you just bend down, exactly the same, just lift up and throw over. Or if you can't get below, then just throw your foot out to trip it. So you can take that throw from any position. And again, you've got to practice this moving backwards, moving forward with randori, and specifically against somebody that's trying to stop you. Move on now to Tai Toshi. This is a technique I like. Again, you know, with a lot of these techniques, I don't really look to take people over with throws. If I've made a mistake and I end up in this position and they give me the energy, then I'll take them over. Most of the best techniques you get in real situations are the techniques that are given you. As I've said in all my stuff, my philosophy is to work from here, work off a fence, control the situations, and bump if I have to, then I'll just become physical. If I make a mistake with that, which invariably you do, and I end up grappling, I need to know what to do. And then it depends on what he gives me. If he gives me a wide stance and he's leaning forward, then I'll take Tai Toshi. Okay. So it all depends. I'm not going to start chasing these techniques. I'll wait for the time to be right and then just take them. But to actually see these opportunities, you've got to understand the technique. You've got to understand your opponent's balance. You've got to become one with him. Okay, I've got to get a sensitivity to what he's doing. I've got to feel the way he's going. You know, it's no use me trying to take one technique if he's moving the wrong way for me. You know, I've got to feel where he's moving and put a technique in that position. And if I don't know the techniques properly and I don't understand the way his body weight's moving, then I can't do it. Okay, so this is really about flight time. This is really about getting hours and hours on the mat. When I was learning these techniques, I was training twice a day, sometimes making myself bad to get the techniques right, to get the feel. So I would probably get 5 years experience in 1 year, because I'm training, you know, sometimes by Wednesday I've had 7 sessions already. and that's what you do to get flight time. The more time you're on the mat fighting, the better. And that, you know, there's no shortcut to that. You need to get a feel for someone's body weight, so that you're not fighting muscle against muscle. You're just going with the energy. You're going with the flow. So he gives you the techniques. So that's again what we're going to do with this kind of technique. At the moment, we're going to do it from a base position. We're just going to do the pure technique, then take it away and put it how you want to put it. Okay. So with Tai Toshi, the full foot movement is to step forward, back. So you're going 1, 2, 3, and then coming across. Or you can do it this way, but just look at my feet there. You can either come to there, or you can come to there. I kind of do a cross between the two. What Wayne prefers to do is he tends to come to here, and all he does is pull your body weight and trips you over his own foot. Other people like to come here, really tight, bend legged. You can see my feet again. So they bend the legs, but there's a real body contact, and then they bend down and then they flick up that way. Okay, other times if you get the balance right, you can just come in and just trip. So you just actually pull them over your own foot. Other times you might find yourself in this position already, you're here. Okay, so you're here, so all you do is you just pull forward and just trip, okay? The footwork on this is probably the most complicated of all the throws. But again, once you've got it, the shortcut. Quite often you can fight from here, or you can break a grip and come from here and whack him with the head, and then just come across this way, across there, and throw him so he can't break fall. Okay? So, or you can also do a single leg, which is just flipping across to here, just to pull someone onto the knees. So you're here, you pull them onto the knees, and then once they're on the knees, you can go to work on the floor, or you can start kicking, whatever you want to do. So the basic footwork, if you just look at the feet again, it's 1, 2, 3, here. Okay. And if you get it right, you take the balance anyway. So we do it slow again. 1, the foot comes in and turns. This one comes to here, this way. That comes to there. At the same time, you pull him. Okay, so you're actually pulling him over that leg. The lower I drop, the more effective the technique's going to be. Yeah. And then what you do a bit later is you push him. Because when you push him, he'll automatically push back. So you go in, push and pull. Okay, so if you just look at the feet again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, to keep on the feet. 1, 2, 3. This way. You should be able to do the same both ways, so you come in 1, 2, 3 this way. So if the opportunity arises, you can go either side. So, okay, so just look at that once more. I'll do the whole throw. So we come from here, come in 1, over. You do the same technique, but just turn Wayne round from the side. So rather than come to the front, you just come across the side here. And again, if the position's right, then you can do it from here. So you just come across to here, and then just throw over. Okay, I'll just do the throw once. This way. Or if you find yourself this way here, especially if you've gone for a technique, just make that a bit short for me. So if you come here, you've gone for a technique and he braces, you can do Tai Toshi from the back, so you can do exactly the same this way. So wherever the feet are, you can do it. What you tend to find then is a good player will actually cut the 3 steps out. So if you look at the feet, 1, 2, 3, a good player will actually just come from here in close and just jump in and cut the footwork out completely. Or again, if you're here, you're on the side, you're fighting this way, again all you would do is just shoot the feet across. And exactly the same again if you've got someone in the headlock here, you just come round. Again, he's not going to let you do it, but these throws work in international events, with international players who really know how to stop it, people with excellent balance. You're dealing outside with people with bad balance. But sometimes the people are very, very strong because of the adrenaline. So you've got to learn to bypass that strength. What we'll do just to finish off on is do some uchikomi. This is a way to practice to get mass flight time for the technique. So you're not actually taking the throw, you're just repeating the movement, and you're doing it with the partner. So you're both working at the same time. The more you can do this, the better. The more times you can actually do the footwork to the throw, and the quicker you can get the footwork, the better your throw is going to be in the end. So that if you're fighting with somebody, or even if you're just sparring, and the opportunity arises, you'll just put it in. It's like, for instance, with headbutting. You practice headbutting enough, you'll automatically put it in. You don't look for opportunities for headbutts. They're presented to you. So if the opportunity arises, the distance is there, ask any of my sparring partners, and the head goes in. And that's how it should be with a throw. If the opportunity arises, if the energy's right, you take the throw. But you can't do that if you don't know the throw, because that window of opportunity is only there for a second. And if it takes you a second to think of the mechanics of the throw because you haven't got it off, then you've lost that window. It closes up just as quickly as it opens. So, I mean, this is what international players like Wayne and the likes do automatically, but it's what I'm trying to show you. The way to actually get it is to actually do these techniques thousands and thousands of times. You've got to do them more times than anybody else will do them. And you've got to train when other people think it's unreasonable to train. And you've got to train harder, you've got to train more. You've got to train so it's really an obsession. And that's when you become as good as you can be. Okay, it's not a matter of being genetically gifted, it's a matter of how hard you're prepared to work. And that all comes down to having the will, having the strength of will to go beyond what most people will naturally do, because your body will cut off at a certain point, it will tell you to stop. What you've got to learn to do is become stronger than natural instinct. Natural instinct will tell you to stop, you've done enough, you've got to be stronger than that. Now, to get that kind of strength, you do the same thing, you train hard, you confront adversity. That makes you a strong person mentally. And that has an overflow into real situations, because if you're in a real fight, you will instinctively feel like running away. That is what we naturally do. We're not built to fight, we're built to run, because the adrenal syndrome was designed to fight against the saber-toothed tiger, or animals that were too big to fight. So our natural instinct as human beings is to run. So whenever you feel like running away, don't feel like a coward. You're feeling natural instinct. But what you're doing with your training is you're learning to override natural instinct. You're developing a willpower, which is an internal thing, that is stronger than natural instinct, which is pretty hard to do. But coming back to the point, that's what we're doing uchikomi for. You do it until you're sick of it, until you're so tired you're dropping. And that's when you learn to override natural instinct, and at the same time you get a technique so it's off. Muhammad Ali used to spend hours just throwing jabs, nothing but jabs. Nobody wants to throw jabs because it's a boring punch. Everybody wants to throw big hooks, big crosses. But he overrode that and just threw jabs. And that made him one of the best jabbers in the history of boxing. And he used to prime people and open them up with jabs and make massive openings for different techniques. But it's the same with this. You do the technique so many times that when someone positions themselves for a split second for that technique, you'll take them over. And if you take them over properly, it's the end of the story. We've got a lot of people in the British Combat Association who work the doors, and a lot of them are judo players, a lot of grapplers, and a lot of them give us reports about using these techniques, really, really effectively, and demolishing people with them. Okay, so and the same as myself, I worked the doors for a long time, and I work the techniques, and I'm not a great grappler, but I make it work outside, and that's what you need to know. So the more you practice, the better it becomes. It needs to be an instinct. So we'll just do a little bit of uchikomi to finish off. We'll just do it slowly and just build up a little bit, just to give you an idea. So what my friend the cameraman will do now is scan from head to feet, so that you can see how the feet are working as well. So we're just moving in and out, and you just do this for as long as you can. Do it in sets of 100 or something like that. Okay, so we'll start off. Just speed up. And the same with Tai Toshi, same kind of thing. You do it with all the techniques, but just moving in, so you have to brace so you don't actually fall. That's the end of the first tape on throws and takedowns. Again, we're just doing it in a pure form. And to repeat myself, just take it away and cut and paste it, make it work in your system, make it work for your personality, your size, your strength, whatever it is, make it work. I'm not going to stand here and tell you can't do this, you can't put your foot like that, because that's all bollocks. You make it work for you. In a lot of the pure systems, traditional systems, if your finger isn't just right, or your hikite isn't just right, it's bad technique. It doesn't matter, as long as you finish people with a technique. If you punch like that, if you punch with your thumb out, if you punch like that, if you do Tai Toshi with your foot in or your foot out or your knees bent, it doesn't matter as long as you throw them over. The main thing is that you're doing the throw with as little effort as you can. Same as with any technique. And that relaxedness will come from lots of flight time from doing it again and again and again. I want to reiterate to finish that the last place you want to be is grappling. And in fact, really, the last place you want to be is fighting. People think, you know, because I talk about preemptive attack, hitting first, people think my philosophy is hit first. My philosophy is first, avoid situations. Second, escape situations. Third, use verbal dissuasion. And fourth and last, hit people. You know, if it's going to become physical, hit them first. You know, be preemptive. But that's still the last resort along a long line. Okay, so if you can avoid situations, that might mean avoid drinking or eating out at shitty places where you know there's trouble. That's your first avoidance. Escape is if I go into a bar and I buy a drink and I've got 3/4 of a pint left and some guy's staring at me trying to make holes in my face, then I'll leave my pint and go somewhere else because I've got nothing to prove. Okay, that's my escape. Verbal dissuasion is I'll try and talk somebody out of a situation, but while I'm talking them out of it, I'll use offence to protect myself. Okay, if I can't talk myself out of it, I'm going to hurt them as much as I can. I'll try and damage them as badly as I can, depending again on the circumstances. But if they've, as Awesome Anderson always said, if they've pushed you so far that you've got to fight, they deserve everything they've got. So try hard not to get into it. Be a nice person, be a good person, give out plenty of good energy, but if the situation kicks off, be first. Again, with these techniques, the last resort, if you're in grappling range, it's because you've made a mistake. The only time I'd caught it is if you're match fighting, and that's going to be a rarity. Maybe once in a lifetime, unless you're actually a trained match fighter.